Hey there, English learners. Welcome back to the English Chat Lab, your favorite place to improve your English while talking about real-life topics that actually matter.
That's right. I'm Max.
And I'm Leela. Today, we're talking about something I know a lot of you will relate to: small talk, how to chat with strangers.
The art of casual conversation, it's something we all have to do, whether it's at a party, on public transportation, or even in the elevator with a coworker. But let's be honest, small talk can feel a little awkward, especially if you're not sure what to say.
Yes, you know the feeling. You're standing there, trying to think of something to say, and suddenly your mind goes completely blank. Or worse, you say something and immediately think, why did I say that?
Oh, we've all been there, but here's the good news. Small talk doesn't have to be scary or awkward. With a few tips and tricks, you can turn it into a fun and easy way to connect with people.
Yes, and that's exactly what we're breaking down today. We'll talk about common small talk topics, share tips for keeping conversations light and friendly, and even role-play some examples so you can feel confident in any situation.
Yes, and the best part, small talk is a fantastic way to practice your English in real-life situations. Every conversation is a chance to learn new words, improve your fluency, and build confidence.
Yes. So, let's start with a quick question for everyone listening. Think about the last time you had to make small talk in English. Did you feel confident, or did you struggle to find the right words?
Or maybe you've avoided small talk altogether because you're worried about saying the wrong thing. If that's you, don't worry, we've all been there. And today, we're going to help you overcome those fears.
Yes, small talk is such a useful skill, and we want you to feel confident and enjoy every conversation. So, let's dive in and make chatting with strangers a breeze.
All right, let's get into it. First up, we're diving into why small talk matters. Stay tuned.
We're moving on to Chapter 2, Why Small Talk Matters. Max, let's dive into why small talk is such a valuable skill and how it can make a big difference in our daily lives.
Absolutely, Leela, small talk might seem like just casual chit-chat, but it actually serves a really important purpose. One of the biggest benefits is that it helps break the ice. When you're meeting someone new or entering a new environment, small talk is like a warm-up. It eases you into the conversation and makes everyone feel more comfortable.
Yes, and it's not just about comfort. Small talk also helps build rapport. When you show interest in someone by asking about their day or commenting on something you both notice, it creates a sense of connection. It's like saying, "Hey, I see you, and I'm open to chatting."
Exactly, and that connection can lead to deeper conversations and even relationships. Think about it. How many of your friendships or professional relationships started with a simple "Hi, how are you?" Small talk is often the first step to something more meaningful.
Yes, and let's not forget how small talk can make others feel comfortable. When you initiate a conversation, especially in a situation where someone might feel awkward or out of place, it can really put them at ease. For example, if you're at a party and you see someone standing alone, a simple "Hi, I'm Leela, how do you know?" the host can make them feel included.
That's such a great example, and small talk isn't just for social settings, it's useful in so many real-life situations. For instance, if you're on public transportation and you notice someone reading a book you love, you could say, "That's one of my favorite books. What do you think of it?" Suddenly, you've turned a boring commute into an interesting conversation.
Yes, or imagine you're in a waiting room, and the person next to you looks a little nervous. A simple comment like, "I hope they call us soon, I've been here forever," can lighten the mood and make the time pass faster.
Exactly, small talk is like a social superpower. It helps you navigate all kinds of situations, from the everyday to the unexpected. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
Yes. So, to wrap up Chapter 2, here's the big takeaway. Small talk matters because it breaks the ice, builds rapport, and makes others feel comfortable. It's the foundation for deeper conversations and relationships, and it's a skill you can use in almost any situation.
Yes, and in the next chapter, we're diving into common small talk topics. We'll share the best topics to talk about and how to keep the conversation flowing. Stay tuned.
We're moving on to Chapter 3, Common Small Talk Topics. Max, let's talk about the kinds of topics that are perfect for small talk, safe, easy, and great for starting a conversation.
Absolutely, Leela. Small talk is all about keeping things light and friendly, so it's important to choose topics that are relatable and non-controversial. Let's start with one of the most classic small talk topics, the weather.
Yes, the weather is a go-to because it's something everyone experiences. You can say something like, "Nice day, isn't it?" Or, "Can you believe this rain?" It's simple, universal, and a great way to break the ice.
Exactly, and if you're not sure what to say, the weather is always a safe bet. It's neutral, and it can lead to other topics like plans for the day or even travel. Speaking of which, let's talk about hobbies.
Yes, asking about hobbies or weekend plans is a fantastic way to get to know someone better. You can say, "Do you have any fun plans for the weekend?" Or, "What do you like to do in your free time?" It's a great way to find common interests and keep the conversation flowing.
Exactly, and if they mention something you're also interested in, like hiking or cooking, you can dive deeper into that topic. But if not, no worries, it's still a friendly and easy question to ask. Another great topic is travel.
Yes, travel is a topic that almost everyone enjoys talking about. You can ask, "Have you been on any trips recently?" Or, "Do you like traveling?" Even if someone hasn't traveled recently, they might share a dream destination or a funny travel story.
Exactly, and travel conversations can be so engaging because people love sharing their experiences and recommendations. Another safe and easy topic is current events, but keep it light. For example, you could say, "Did you hear about the new cafe that opened downtown?" Or, "Have you tried that new restaurant on Main Street?"
Yes, current events can be a great way to connect, but it's important to avoid controversial topics like politics or sensitive news stories. Stick to things that are fun, local, or universally interesting.
Exactly. The key is to keep the conversation positive and inclusive. These topics, weather, hobbies, travel, and light current events, are perfect because they're easy to discuss and unlikely to make anyone uncomfortable.
Yes. So, to wrap up Chapter 3, here's the big takeaway. Common small talk topics like the weather, hobbies, travel, and light current events are safe, easy, and great for starting conversations. They help you connect with others without diving into anything too personal or controversial.
Yes, and in the next chapter, we're diving into tips for keeping conversations light and friendly. We'll share strategies for making small talk feel natural and enjoyable. Stay tuned.
We're moving on to Chapter 4, Tips for Keeping Conversations Light and Friendly. Max, let's talk about how to make small talk feel natural, enjoyable, and stress-free.
Absolutely, Leela, small talk doesn't have to be awkward or forced. With a few simple tips, you can make every conversation feel smooth and friendly. Let's start with how to start a conversation.
Yes, the way you start a conversation sets the tone for the rest of the interaction. A simple "Hi, how's your day going?" is always a great opener. It's friendly, casual, and gives the other person an easy way to respond.
Exactly. Another great way to start is by giving a genuine compliment. For example, "I love your bag, where did you get it?" Or, "Those are great shoes." People love feeling noticed, and it's an easy way to break the ice.
Yes, and once you've started the conversation, it's important to keep it light and friendly. One of the best ways to do that is through your body language. Smiling, maintaining eye contact, and using open gestures like keeping your arms uncrossed can make you seem approachable and engaged.
Exactly. Body language speaks louder than words sometimes. If you look relaxed and interested, the other person will feel more comfortable too. Another key tip is to avoid controversial topics.
Yes, topics like politics, religion, or personal finances can quickly make a conversation uncomfortable. Stick to neutral, positive topics like the ones we talked about in the last chapter: weather, hobbies, travel, and light current events.
Exactly, and if someone brings up a controversial topic, you can politely steer the conversation in a different direction. For example, if someone starts talking about politics, you could say, "That's an interesting perspective. Have you seen any good movies lately?"
Yes. Another important tip is to keep the conversation balanced. That means asking questions, listening actively, and sharing a little about yourself. For example, if someone says, "I just got back from a trip to Spain," you could ask, "Oh, that sounds amazing. What was your favorite part?" And then share a little about your own travel experiences.
Exactly. The goal is to create a back and forth exchange where both people feel heard and involved. And don't forget to listen actively, nod, smile, and respond to what the other person is saying. It shows that you're genuinely interested.
Yes. And if you're not sure what to say next, you can always ask a follow-up question. For example, if someone mentions they love cooking, you could ask, "What's your favorite dish to make?" Or, "Do you like trying new recipes?"
Exactly. Small talk is all about keeping the conversation flowing naturally. And if there's ever a lull, don't panic, it's totally normal. You can always bring up a new topic or say something like, "Well, it was great chatting with you."
Yes. So, to wrap up Chapter 4, here's the big takeaway. Keeping conversations light and friendly is all about starting with a simple opener, using positive body language, avoiding controversial topics, and keeping the conversation balanced. Ask questions, listen actively, and share a little about yourself to create a natural, enjoyable exchange.
Yes, and in the next chapter, we're diving into how to handle awkward moments. We'll share tips for dealing with those inevitable awkward silences or missteps. Stay tuned.
We're moving on to Chapter 5, How to Handle Awkward Moments. Max, let's be honest, even the best small talkers run into awkward moments sometimes. But the good news is, there are ways to handle them gracefully.
Absolutely. Leela, awkward moments happen to everyone, so don't stress too much. The key is to stay calm and know how to recover. Let's start with what to do if the conversation stalls.
Yes, if you feel like the conversation is losing momentum, don't panic. You can always bring up a new topic or ask a follow-up question. For example, you could say, "So, what do you do for fun?" Or, "Have you seen any good movies lately?" These are easy, open-ended questions that can get the conversation flowing again.
Exactly, and if you're not sure what to ask, you can always comment on something around you. For example, "This event has such a great vibe, have you been here before?" Or, "I love the music they're playing, do you listen to this kind of music?"
Yes, another common awkward moment is when you need to exit a conversation. Maybe you're running late, or the conversation has naturally come to an end. The key is to do it politely and gracefully. You can say something like, "It was great chatting with you, I'll let you get back to your day." Or, "I should probably head out, but it was so nice meeting you."
Exactly. Ending a conversation doesn't have to be awkward. Just keep it positive and friendly, and the other person will appreciate your politeness. Now, let's talk about what to do if you accidentally say something awkward.
Yes, we've all been there. You say something, and as soon as the words leave your mouth, you think, "Why did I say that?" The key is to stay calm and address it lightly. You can say, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way, let's talk about something else." Or, "That came out wrong, let me try again."
Exactly. Most people are understanding and won't hold it against you. And if you're really not sure how to recover, you can always laugh it off and say, "Well, that was awkward, let's move on." Humor can be a great way to lighten the mood.
Yes, the important thing is not to dwell on it. Awkward moments happen to everyone, and the more you practice small talk, the fewer awkward moments you'll have. And if they do happen, just remember it's not the end of the world.
Exactly. So, to wrap up Chapter 5, here's the big takeaway. Awkward moments are a normal part of small talk, but you can handle them gracefully. If the conversation stalls, ask a new question or comment on something around you. If you need to exit, do it politely and positively. And if you say something awkward, address it lightly and move on.
Yes. And in the next chapter, we're diving into role-playing small talk conversations. We'll practice some real-life examples so you can feel even more confident. Stay tuned. We're moving on to Chapter 6, Role-Playing Small Talk Conversations. Max, let's put everything we've learned into practice with some real-life examples. We'll role-play 3 common scenarios and highlight the key phrases and strategies you can use.
Absolutely, Leela, role-playing is a great way to build confidence and see how these tips work in action. Let's start with Example 1, chatting with a stranger at a coffee shop. Example 1, chatting with a stranger at a coffee shop.
All right, I'll play the stranger, and you'll be the person starting the conversation. Ready?
Ready. Hi there. This coffee shop is always so busy. Do you come here often?
Oh, hi. Yeah, I love this place. The coffee is amazing, and it's such a cozy spot to work or relax.
Totally agree. I'm Max, by the way. What's your usual order here?
Nice to meet you, Max. I'm Leela. I usually get a latte. What about you?
I'm more of a cappuccino person, but I've been meaning to try their seasonal drinks. Have you had any of those?
Not yet, but I've heard the pumpkin spice latte is really good this time of year.
Oh, I'll have to try that next time. Well, it was great chatting with you. Leela, enjoy your coffee.
You too, Max. Have a great day.
All right, let's break that down. I started with a simple observation about the coffee shop being busy, which is a great icebreaker. Then I introduced myself and asked about her usual order to keep the conversation light and personal. Finally, I ended the conversation politely by saying, "It was great chatting with you."
Yes, and notice how the conversation flowed naturally from one topic to another: coffee, seasonal drinks, and then a friendly goodbye. It's all about keeping it casual and positive.
Example 2. Making small talk with a coworker in the elevator. All right, let's move on to Example 2. Making small talk with a coworker in the elevator. Leela, you'll be the coworker, and I'll start the conversation. Ready?
Ready.
Hey, good morning. How's your day going so far?
Oh, hi. It's going well, just trying to get through this busy week. How about you?
Same here. It's been non-stop, but I'm looking forward to the weekend. Do you have any plans?
Not really, just hoping to relax. Maybe catch up on some Netflix. What about you?
I'm thinking of going hiking if the weather's nice. Do you like outdoor activities?
I do. I haven't been hiking in a while, though. Maybe I should give it a try again.
You should. There's a great trail just outside the city. Well, this is my floor. Have a great day.
You too, Max.
All right, let's break that down. I started with a simple good morning and asked about her day, which is a great way to show interest. Then I kept the conversation going by asking about weekend plans and sharing a little about myself. Finally, I ended the conversation naturally when I reached my floor.
Yes, and notice how the conversation stayed light and friendly, even though it was short. That's the beauty of small talk. It doesn't have to be long to be meaningful. Example 3, talking to someone at a social event. All right, last one. Example 3, talking to someone at a social event. Max, you'll be the person I'm meeting for the first time at a party. Ready?
Ready?
Hi there. I don't think we've met. I'm Leela. How do you know the host?
Oh. Hi, Leela. I'm Max. I actually work with the host. We're on the same team. What about you?
Nice to meet you, Max. I'm friends with the host from college. So, what do you do for work?
I'm in marketing. It's pretty fast-paced, but I love it. What about you?
I'm a teacher. It's definitely challenging, but so rewarding. Do you enjoy working in marketing?
I do. It's creative and always keeps me on my toes. Well, it was great meeting you. Leela, I'm going to grab a drink, but let's chat again later.
Sounds good, Max. Enjoy the party.
All right, let's break that down. Leela started by introducing herself and asking how I knew the host, which is a great way to find common ground. Then, she asked about my job, which led to a natural back and forth. Finally, I ended the conversation politely by saying, "It was great meeting you."
Yes, and notice how the conversation flowed smoothly from one topic to another: how we knew the host, our jobs, and then a friendly goodbye. It's all about being curious and engaged.
So, to wrap up Chapter 6, here's the big takeaway. Role-playing small talk conversations helps you practice key phrases and strategies in real-life scenarios. Whether you're at a coffee shop, in an elevator, or at a social event, the goal is to keep the conversation light, friendly, and natural.
Yes, and in the next chapter, we're diving into key vocabulary for small talk. We'll go over essential words and phrases to help you sound confident and fluent. Stay tuned. We're moving on to Chapter 7, Key Vocabulary for Small Talk. Max, let's go over some essential words and phrases that will help you sound confident and fluent during small talk.
Absolutely, Leela, having the right vocabulary can make a big difference in how natural and comfortable your conversations feel. Let's start with the word casual.
1. Casual. Casual means informal and relaxed. For example, we had a casual conversation about the weather. Small talk is usually casual because it's not too serious or deep. It's about keeping things light and friendly.
Yes, when you're having a casual conversation, you don't need to worry about using formal language or discussing heavy topics. It's all about being approachable and easygoing. 2. Awkward. Next up is awkward, which means uncomfortable or embarrassing. For example, there was an awkward silence after I asked the wrong question. We've all been there, right?
Yes, awkward moments happen to everyone, but the key is not to let them ruin the conversation. If you feel like the conversation is getting awkward, you can always change the topic or laugh it off. For example, well, that was awkward, let's talk about something else. 3. Polite. Another important word is polite, which means showing good manners. For example, it's polite to ask about someone's day before diving into deeper topics. Being polite is essential in small talk because it shows respect and makes the other person feel comfortable.
Yes, politeness can include things like smiling, using phrases like please and thank you, and avoiding interrupting the other person. It's all about creating a positive and respectful interaction. 4. Engage. Finally, let's talk about the word engage, which means to participate or get involved. For example, she always knows how to engage people in conversation. When you engage someone, you're actively listening, asking questions, and showing interest in what they have to say.
Yes, engaging in conversation is key to making small talk enjoyable for both people. It's not just about talking, it's about creating a back and forth exchange where both people feel heard and involved.
So, to wrap up Chapter 7, here's the big takeaway. These key words, casual, awkward, polite, and engage, are essential for small talk. They help you understand the tone of the conversation, handle tricky moments, and keep the interaction positive and enjoyable.
Yes, and in the next chapter, we're diving into listener stories and tips. We'll share inspiring stories and creative strategies from our listeners about their experiences with small talk. Stay tuned. We're moving on to Chapter 8, Listener Stories and Tips. Max, this is one of my favorite parts of the podcast because we get to hear from our amazing listeners and learn from their experiences.
Absolutely, Leela, our listeners are so creative and resourceful, and their stories always inspire me. Today, we're sharing some of their tips and tricks for mastering small talk and making conversations feel natural and enjoyable.
Listener Story 1, Maria's Translation App Hack. First up, we have a story from Maria in Spain. She shared how she uses a translation app to help her communicate during small talk. She says, I type what I want to say in my language, and the app translates it into English or the local language. It's been a lifesaver.
That's such a great tip, Maria. Technology can be a huge help when you're navigating small talk in a foreign language. It's a great way to build confidence and make sure you're expressing yourself clearly.
Listener Story 2, Ahmed's Phrase Notebook. Next, we have a tip from Ahmed in Egypt. He shared how he always carries a small notebook with key phrases written down. He says, if I'm ever stuck, I can just show the notebook to someone, and they'll understand what I need.
Yes, that's such a smart idea, Ahmed. Writing down phrases like where is the bus stop or how much is the fare can make a big difference. It's like having a cheat sheet for small talk.
Listener Story 3: Lisa's Schedule Photo Trick. Here's a creative tip from Lisa in Japan. She always takes a photo of the train or bus schedule with her phone. She says, "That way, I can refer to it even if I don't have internet access."
Yes, that's such a practical strategy, Lisa. It's a great way to stay prepared and avoid feeling lost, especially when you're in a new place.
Listener Story 4: Carlos's Announcement Practice. Next, we have a story from Carlos in Brazil. He shared how he practices his English by listening to public transportation announcements. He says, "I try to repeat what I hear and look up any words I don't understand. It's a fun way to learn."
Yes, that's such a creative way to practice, Carlos. It's a great example of turning everyday moments into learning opportunities.
Listener Story 5: Anna's Smile and Thank You Strategy. Finally, we have a tip from Anna in Germany. She says, "I always smile and say thank you when someone helps me. It makes the interaction more positive, and people are more willing to help again if I need it."
Yes, that's such an important point, Anna. A little kindness goes a long way, especially when you're navigating small talk in a new language or culture.
So, to wrap up Chapter 8, here's the big takeaway. Our listeners have shared some amazing tips for mastering small talk, from using translation apps to practicing with announcements. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach, so find what works best for you.
Yes, and don't forget, if you have a tip or story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Send us a message, and we might feature you in a future episode.
Up next, we're diving into wrap-up and key takeaways. We'll recap the most important points from today's episode and encourage you to practice your small talk skills. Stay tuned.
We're moving on to Chapter 9, Wrap-Up and Key Takeaways. Max, let's recap everything we've covered today and give our listeners some final tips for mastering small talk. Absolutely, Leela, today's episode has been packed with practical advice, and we want to make sure everyone walks away feeling confident and ready to start chatting. Let's start by recapping the common small talk topics we discussed.
1. Common small talk topics. We talked about how small talk often revolves around safe, easy topics like the weather, hobbies, travel, and light current events. For example, you can say, "Nice day, isn't it?" Or, "Have you been on any trips recently?" These topics are great because they're relatable and unlikely to make anyone uncomfortable.
Yes, and remember, small talk is all about keeping things light and positive. Avoid controversial topics like politics or personal finances and focus on creating a friendly, enjoyable conversation.
2. Tips for keeping conversations light and friendly. Next, we shared tips for keeping conversations light and friendly. Start with a simple opener like, "Hi, how's your day going?" Or give a genuine compliment like, "I love your bag, where did you get it?" Use positive body language, like smiling and maintaining eye contact, to show you're approachable and engaged.
Yes, and don't forget to keep the conversation balanced. Ask questions, listen actively, and share a little about yourself. For example, if someone mentions they love cooking, you could ask, "What's your favorite dish to make?" And then share your own favorite recipe.
3. How to handle awkward moments. We also talked about how to handle awkward moments. If the conversation stalls, you can bring up a new topic or ask a follow-up question like, "So, what do you do for fun?" If you need to exit a conversation, do it politely by saying, "It was great chatting with you, I'll let you get back to your day."
Yes, and if you accidentally say something awkward, don't panic. Address it lightly by saying, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way, let's talk about something else." Or laugh it off and move on. Awkward moments happen to everyone, so don't let them ruin your confidence.
4. Key vocabulary to use in small talk. Finally, we went over some key vocabulary to help you sound confident and fluent during small talk. Words like casual, awkward, polite, and engage are essential for understanding the tone of the conversation and navigating it smoothly.
Yes, for example, small talk is usually casual and informal, but it's important to stay polite and respectful. If the conversation feels awkward, don't worry, just engage the other person by asking questions and showing interest.
So, to wrap up Chapter 9, here's the big takeaway. Small talk is a skill that gets easier with practice. Focus on common topics, keep the conversation light and friendly, handle awkward moments gracefully, and use key vocabulary to sound confident and fluent.
Yes, and if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and share it with your friends. It really helps us reach more English learners like you.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time on the English Chat Lab. Until then, happy chatting!
Bye for now.